Right. I'm shattered. It's 2:00 in the morning. Oh, I met someone in the laundrette earlier who said they know someone who she's from, I think southeast London, and she lives down here. I forgot where she said she's from. I think it's southeast London, but she knows someone who from St John's. She knows people from St John's Wood, which is where the Tavistock Institute is in North London. And I was just talking to her. One thing leads to another, and she said, well, apart from saying, oh, well, I've got to get my daughter's Halloween costume. And I thought, oh, gosh. But I know that a lot of people, I don't say anything when, people want to celebrate what they want to celebrate. But, Dr. William Snowblum is warning, I follow Dr. William Snowblum, the ex 84th degree Freemason, ex satanic priest, ex Wicca priest, ex vampire. He used to drink blood. Yeah, he's saying that the Christian churches are allowing Halloween, but it's a very high satanic holiday. I'm not a hypocrite though, because my late mother and I used to do pumpkins, and my mother would give treats on Halloween just to get rid of the children. My mother would say, oh, it's an American thing, because she used to live in America. But it's not actually. It's Samhain. Trick or treat in the old days. They'd burn your house down as a trick. And the treats for the children are a way of giving to evil spirits. So do not celebrate Halloween. And of course, Samhain in Ireland, where the Druids actually sacrificed children. And I've seen where Druids sacrifice children, because I've been to Chislehurst Caves, where they've actually got a satanic cave where my then friend's father said that they got him to lie down as a boy and pretend to actually act out how they, cut their throats and collected the blood. So, yeah, I expect at Chislehurst Caves they'll be doing some. It's really demonic. Children shouldn't be doing this stuff, but I know better now. And but I'm not going to criticize people, but it's amazing how people are going out and just wearing stuff, and it's like when I went to the the medieval Herstmonceux festival, and I bought the fairy doors and the Green Man, and the Green Man is extremely satanic. John Wedger. It was because of John Wedger that I learnt that the Green Man is used by real practicing Satanists. They wear that thing to go and bugger and murder boys in woods. And just look up the Reigns list. These toffs, these Lord Montague or whatever his name is. And oh my gosh, Uri Geller is on the Reigns list. And people have been murdered, children have been part of rituals in forests and stuff, and yeah. But anyway, getting right off the point, I was talking to this lady, so she said that her children, we're going to make my daughter's Halloween costume, and then I got on to talking about what's been happening to me. Oh, if that looks suspicious, I cut myself earlier on the I can't stem it. A tin. I cut myself on the tin. Yeah. But what was I saying? So I was telling her about what's happened in the accommodation, and she and these temporary accommodations and supported accommodations and stuff, and she said she knew a boy. He lost his mother when he was 16, so he had a mental breakdown very young. He was in a hostel and apparently smashed up the place, and they didn't want him back. But then he apparently sorted himself out and trained to be an accountant, and now he's living in a very nice area in St John's Wood, which is the plush part. You know, I've seen the crappy end of London. But St John's Wood is where Adamant grew up, Hampstead area, you know, where the satanic, the Hampstead case, you know, all of that took place. And that's where the Tavistock Institute is. And the man that I want to meet from the music industry has exposed it. And there was a lady in my temporary accommodation. She might even know about my YouTube channel. She was a child client there back in the early 80s. And they tried to coerce her into saying things. She didn't want to say anything. She'd been adopted, but she didn't want to say anything, and they were trying to coerce her. And that's what they get paid to do. And then she went on as an adult, she went on to do paperwork for them. And that's the place that Jeanette Archer claims that she was tortured there as part of these extreme satanic rituals, ECT treatment, electric shock treatment. But I've just learned that she knows someone who, I couldn't take it all in because I'm so tired, but basically the child sex change clinic, GID, gender something, the sex change department for children thing has been closed down. And she said, I told her, I think she must have mentioned it because I mentioned my sister who's living as a man. And but a woman sued them because when she was a teenager, when she was underage, they're not doctors, they coerced her, because that's what they do. They coerced her because they don't get to the root of the problem. You know, they put ideas into people's heads, and and this is why they've closed it down. Well, it's satanic anyway. You know, Baphomet. It's satanic. This is what the Masons are doing. The gender agenda. I'm just so glad that my sister didn't do this when she was a child, because people are regretting having sex changes. I mean, we met a man called Leanne. Oh, he wanted to sue me. Well, he still had his man part, but he was called Leanne, and I called. Anyway, won't go there. It's just bizarre. He wanted to be a woman, but he still fancied women. It's bizarre. And he kept his man part, and he had breasts, and he looked like a woman and sounded like a woman, but I'm sorry, but it makes me feel sick. I mean, people can do whatever they want to do. That's up to them. You know, it's your business, whatever. But It's not right. No. People shouldn't be messing with their. I mean, the lady was telling me how this girl, as a 16-year-old, she had a mastectomy. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you mess with your body? Why would you cut it up? Why would you mess with what? Your Heavenly Father, how you were made? Why would you do that? It's one thing to have loads of piercings all over your body and tattoos and body modification, but then to start chopping off parts of your body, there's something not right in here. And even my sister agreed with me when I told her what the locum said, that she and me, we both need trauma-based therapy, what the Vietnam War veterans had. But they got rid of that locum because they used trauma to control the masses. It's just simple. It's very, very simple. But apparently this, because they weren't doctors, they had, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It just makes me feel sick. But basically, I've just had a look, and yes, she's right. They have closed down. She said that they've closed down. Excuse me, the GIDS department. Tavistock Gender Clinic faces mass legal action after vulnerable children and after children prescribed puberty blockers. They are, just as I expected, lawyers say up to 1,000 patients could join the litigation with claims that former patients are facing physical and psychological permanent scarring. Well, you know, my sister wanted to wear boys' school uniform and she liked Action Man. She wanted to wear boys' school uniform. Something must have changed when I was born, because my sister, I've noticed that in 1982, the year I was born, my sister, well, there's a picture of me and she's there and she's got long hair and she looks like a girl. And not long after that same year, she's got really boyish cut short hair. And of course, I don't remember 1982 because I don't remember being a baby. But that's the year I was born, and that was the year she stopped looking like a little girl and started looking boyish. So she, yeah. And a month after I was born, she got a reply from Jim will fix it. She showed me the letter. Not that that's got anything to do with it, but you know, that's the BBC mucking things up. But the BBC covered this as well. This child gender thing. So it's under the NHS. Wow, the Tavistock Centre, the Tavi. But it's so believable that Jeanette Archer's had ECT there, because I met a very screwed up schizophrenic woman who'd had ECT, and she was, she talked like that. She talked as if she had a plum in her mouth. I don't mean to be rude. No one knows who I'm talking about. She was horrible anyway. But I feel sorry for these people though, because it makes you wonder what's happened to them. But yeah, you know, lots of things, evil things have come out of the TAVI, like you know, gender committee of 300, the what's that German thing called? But the Beatles and the programming and the flower power and social engineering, everything to make children rebel and go against their parents, because the Beatles were okay before all of that, and then they took LSD. and they use drugs for satanic ritual abuse, LSD and mind-altering drugs and MK Ultra. But yeah, Deep State, look it up. The Beatles, the Committee of 300, Tavistock Institute. So what Jeanette Archer, the satanic ritual abuse survivor, said is absolutely true. So my sister is a victim of the gender agenda. I'm a victim of Agenda 2030 with what the police have done to me. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. I can't believe I forgot to say this, but then it's only just entered my mind. Last night, I went out because I think a lot. My brain never stops thinking. It's a good thing. And it came into my head. We actually, my mother and I, we had a WPC lodger. Yes, we had a police constable live with us in 1991. Nice lady. I think I remember her name now. It's come to me. I think it was Julie. Yeah. And she looked how they used to be smart. Now they just look like a bunch of thugs, military thugs. But she looked like how they dressed in the bill, with the hat and a bit like a sea cadet. You know, smart, with tights and skirts, and now they just got tasers and guns, and they're ready to come in and serve the crap out of you. But I just remember being 9 years old and thinking, Mum and I thought, we said to people, we feel so safe to have a police officer living with us. Oh, how times have changed. That was 31 years ago. There's a picture of her with us, and I've in the snow, and I've got my 10 little Indians gloves on. Yeah, and it's occurred to me, I wonder if it was her that gave us the VHS videotape, Taking Control, Lindsay DePaul, because someone said to my mother, I think Bryony's going to need this one day. And yes, because only about a couple of years later, I was touched up as an 11-year-old, exposed to, and then in 2010, I had attempted rape, went to the Saturn Rape Victim Centre, and guess what? Yes, I used one of the techniques to get myself out of being fully raped. And I put my assailant in prison and on a sex offenders register, and that's the only time Eastbourne police were ever nice to me. So what's happened within the last 6 years? Why have they been targeting me? Why have they been beating me? I mean, yes, it will all boil down to that one suspect who I've been with for the past 6 years. But anyway, there we are. So I just thought I'd just say that. There we go. I just find it all very interesting. And I know that some of the things I say do sound a bit harsh, but and I'm not being horrible. It just sounds horrible, but that's the way it is. I'm not being offensive. I've had my trauma, and this is how it is. This is me telling it exactly how it is. So there we go. Over and out.